Morning, Con.
Good morning, Dennis. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Hey, Branson, how are you?
Uh-oh. That don't sound good.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, good.
I was set up for my Zoom. I did do in Detroit, and I had to reset it up for my camera mic.
Hey. Hey, Grant, how are you?
Doing good, Dennis. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, Dennis, this might be a question for Jack, but I'm hoping you can help me as well. But I'm looking to source North Carolina peanuts, and I'd like to go directly to the farmer if at all possible. And I don't know if you've got any direction on that or not.
Well, Jack may want to jump in also, but we have really good relationship with Denise Baker. Do you remember her from Baker Peanuts?
No, I do not.
She was in our class a couple of times ago, and she's got a pretty big operation. It's called Baker's Peanuts.
Okay.
I think she really be perfect because she's set up primarily for wholesale.
Wonderful. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I think it's right, and Jack can probably know more than I do, but I'm pretty sure she's in a little town north of Goldsboro, and I think she basically has everyone in the town working for her, from what I understand.
Oh, that's
Is that right, Jack?
I just signed on. I didn't catch the question.
He was asking for a source for North Carolina peanuts, and I suggested Baker Peanuts because she
That's
was
good. There are a boatload of peanut folks. If you will email me, I can send you a bunch of contact information.
Cool.
And including for Baker.
Okay.
I think I've got it for Baker as well, but I can send you probably 3 or 4 suppliers that definitely can
Work with
take care of it.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Jack. Thank you so much.
You bet.
You know, one thing I learned about peanuts, and you already know this kind probably, but the extra large peanuts that are popular in Southern Virginia and North Carolina, they call them Virginia peanuts. Those are actually not great for peanut butter. They actually use a different peanut. A smaller peanut is more in line for peanut butter. So I just didn't know that. So just an FYI for what it's worth.
Yeah, the larger ones are usually used more for snacks and candies. And yeah, once you've had them, you go to a Planters snack pack and you just kind of go, bleh.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for coming in. This is going to be a little bit different today, I guess, or weird or whatever. And so what I wanted to show you is a couple of things that I'm really hoping they'll be somewhat aspirational. Not that you will require aspiration after watching them, but that you will find some of these, a couple of these examples pretty good. And one of them, we're going to see 2. The first one is pretty short, and it's an amazing story. Some of you may know it, of a company called Daisy Cakes. And the reason I'm really showing you this is because this woman basically operates out of her farmhouse in a very rural area, literally just outside Asheville, although it is over the South Carolina border. So I think you'll enjoy her little story, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then what we're going to do, since I've gotten a lot of questions about going live and kind of what all that involves, so we're gonna visit with another small business. This one happens to be in the UK, and it also happens to be cakes. Not that I'm pushing cakes, but it's a really good kind of, how do you do that kind of thing, and it'll be a good resource for everybody, I think. So hopefully you'll enjoy these and maybe get some pretty cool ideas here. So hold on one second here. Okay, let me turn that. Okay, there we go. Sorry, it's taking me a second here. Okay, and we'll share screen. There we go. Moving a little slow here this morning. Sorry about that.
When I was 10 years old, my mother and I actually sold our first cake. It was a yellow cake with chocolate icing, and we sold it for a whopping $7. So I've been baking cakes all my life. My mother and I started Daisy Cakes back in June of 2009. And we started to grow a little bit, so we hired one more person, and with that we grew into a whopping 2,000 cakes in 1 year. When we aired on Shark Tank in 2011, in the first 48 hours of airing, the phone lines blew up, the website crashed, and we got over 2,000 cake orders. And up to this point, we will have done 100,000 cakes shipped out of this little bitty kitchen down in Pauline, South Carolina. So the recipes for Daisy Cakes are my family recipes, all the way back to my grandmother's and my great aunt Daisy. We named the company after her. And these cakes are hand sifted, they are made from scratch, they're artisanal cakes. Just like my grandmother's and my great aunt would have done it, there's no preservatives, no artificial anything in them, just all real good, pure, simple ingredients. The first cake we ever baked was a yellow cake with chocolate icing. So now we're doing a carrot cake, red velvet, chocolate, lemon, and coconut. We really rely on the power of e-commerce because we don't have a brick and mortar. 99.9% of our business is shipping. After a really rough start with our previous shipping company, in comes FedEx, and they really saved the day. Our Daisy Cakes are frozen, so it's very important that the cakes be well taken care of as they're traveling from Daisy Cakes to the customer. And we have to ship them in a styrofoam shipper with dry ice. And you have very limited time in transit. The great thing about FedEx is they are a part of the team at Daisy Cakes. We love them, the best company out there. Another way that FedEx is helping Daisy Cakes to take our business to a whole new level is with these beautiful new Ecom Labels. It is an extension of our brand.
In Kim's situation, it's been a lot of fun helping her come up with some ideas on helping her grow her business. The Ecom Label is a great example of that.
It's going to market her, it's going to expand her presence in her industry, it's going to be able to be an advertising, promotional piece. There's so many things and benefits that are going to come to her as a customer in using that Ecom Label.
So all the information from our brochures describing our cakes, cake of the month and everything is in this beautiful, colorful Ecom Label. I think what makes Daisy Cakes so special is it is truly a labor of love. And I know that when you taste these cakes, you'll know how delicious they are, and you will know that they really are. They are made with genuine love from Pauline, South Carolina.
Okay, so just a couple of things about this. Let's see. Just to give you an idea of what they're doing. I believe last year they did $7.5 million in sales out of that farmhouse. And if you get a chance to go to their website, I think it's I Love Daisy Cakes or something like that. Highly recommend it. I ordered one last year just for the fun of it. It was a carrot cake. I swear it weighed as much as I do. It was unbelievable. And I think it was something like $80 shipped or $75 shipped, some crazy number like that. And I was going to a family event, so it fed a whole bunch of people. But my only point about it is, here's a person in the middle of nowhere who is basically making cakes in her house and grossing $7.5 million. You know, so it can be done, believe it or not. Okay, so and I'm not advocating for her cakes or anything. My wife takes great umbrage at anything other than what she makes, so I'm very careful not to overstate the benefits of people like this. So anyway, let me see if I can get this one to work. Take me a second here, like usual. Okay. This is a little bit more in depth, and it's more really, I see it more as a kind of a primer for going live. But I want to point out a couple of things, or just call your attention to. This is another small business. It's a two-person business. I don't know if they're husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. But what I wanted to kind of point out, in addition to this kind of technical stuff you'll see about live streaming and kind of all that involves, and we've had some questions about how do you live stream, you know, just generally, not just in you know, not just in Pop Shop Live, but just on your own website, for example, or Facebook or whatever. But I want to point out how these folks have extended their brand dramatically. The things that they do that go way beyond kind of a, you know, like the previous woman we saw, it looks to me like she basically bakes cakes with a vengeance, but that's it. I don't think she does anything else. She doesn't have a line of clothes. She doesn't have classes, you know, all that kind of stuff. So this is a little bit of an example. I don't have access to their financials, but I think they're somewhere in the range of about $15 million a year, this particular operation. And it's called, let's see, I think it's Ray's Fancy Cakes. I know I'm on a cake kick.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this next installment of our Made with Switcher live streaming series, where we like to dedicate these live streams to awesome creators and people who are making awesome live videos and video in general using Switcher Studio. So I'm Dan Pt.3. I'm one of the co-founders of Switcher Studio and the senior product educator here. And I have some awesome guests with you today. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring them in, and then we can talk about everything that they're doing out there. So welcome Richard and Zoey of Zoey's Fancy Cakes. So first of all, thank you for joining us. I know the time changed a little weird. It's probably getting right there at dinner time for you all there in the UK, of course. And yeah, I think you could tell from the title, but they make really awesome cakes. So I was telling them earlier, when I was asked to host this live stream, I started checking out their YouTube page and their Facebook page and their website, and I got more and more excited because the stuff they're making out there is awesome. Do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and maybe talk a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Zoey.
And I'm Richard.
Richard does all the technical stuff. I don't have a clue how you do anything technical whatsoever. And I decorate cakes. I don't do a huge amount of baking, believe it or not, but I decorate cakes. But we have a cake decorating business where we run classes. We have like free tutorials, paid for tutorials, and then we sell cake decorating supplies and equipment as well. And that's basically what we do.
Yeah. So yeah, we just like to make videos and sell products, basically. That's
excellent. Yeah. And somewhere along the way, you found Switcher Studio, and we're really excited that you did, and that became part of the everything y'all are doing. So let me first of all say thank you everybody out there as well who's tuning in and watching this live stream. If you have questions as we're going along for Zoey and Richard, please put those in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer some of those as we're going along, talking through all this fun stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of jump in, but before we get into the meat and potatoes of live stream question, I guess it's not, we're talking baking, right? It's not meat and potatoes. It's what? Flour, sugar, milk. Is that right? Eggs?
Eggs, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. But before we get into those, let's start off with more of a fun question. So fancy cakes, do you have maybe a favorite design that you do, or just a favorite cake in general that you've made? And all of them, and for those of you who haven't seen it, go check out their YouTube channel, because there's hundreds of cakes and they're all amazing.
Oh, thank you. So now I get asked all the time this question, and I think everyone's always disappointed with my answer because I forget all the ones I've made. I've done so many different ones, they tend to forget. And every week I have a different favorite. I think, what was your favorite?
To give you a bit of an idea, we've got over the years, we've probably got about over 550 video tutorials on cake decorating. So there's a lot of cake videos out there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think my favorite was, Tracer from Overwatch. I did
Okay.
I did a Tracer one, but it wasn't for anyone and it wasn't even for a video. I wanted to do it for fun. So I think that's why it was my favorite.
Had the UK connection there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you made a life-size centaur as well. That's in our
did make
living
a
room.
life-size centaur. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. It was very stressful.
Yeah, I'm impressed too. Like whenever I see someone building a cake that is this fancy, I'm always amazed, because it's like at the end of the day, it's going to be eaten. It's going to be gone. So it's like all this amazing effort and work putting into something that's going to be consumed in the end. So I think you're seeing right now a Chewbacca up there. I like that one. That's one of the more recent ones, correct?
Was that last week's?
Well, it was it was on May the 4th, so Star Wars Day. So
okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones for the Facebook page on the Facebook Lives.
Mm-hmm. And I'll mention too, you guys are going live tomorrow at 6 p.m. your all's time. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's a giraffe. Is that right?
Yes, I've got it with me, but I don't know if you can see it on the can you change our camera angles from there or not? I don't know.
Oh, you've already got it there.
Yeah,
well, we did it.
Oh,
we did it.
can you see it?
Yeah, there you go on this one here.
It doesn't look very nice from the side. It's more front view that it's. That's what we're doing.
Very cool.
It's got a bit of a short snout, so it's not very nice side. But
I love the facial expressions too. Are great.
That's what we're making tomorrow.
Excellent. So yeah, if you guys want to see this happen live, and we're going to start talking through your all's mindset and how you come up with these ideas and everything. But if you guys want to see one of these productions happen live, make sure to tune into that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Is it UK? Like, what's the time zone?
Yeah, UK time.
UK time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the live streaming stuff. So when did you all begin live streaming, and what kind of drew you to maybe, I guess, doing video in general and then the live video component on top of that?
Well, video in general, we started actually with YouTube, didn't we?
Yeah.
A long time ago, probably even before I started it as a business. And I was making cakes to sell, like the cakes to people. And people were asking all the time, like, how did you do that? How did you do that? And I was fed up of typing out how I made things, because it's difficult to explain things in text.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother said, why don't you film it? And I thought he meant, so I send people the videos of me. He says, no, you put it on YouTube. He said, you film it and you put it on YouTube. So that's where it first kind of started, wasn't it, really? And then from the YouTube, we got requested for actual face-to-face classes. So until coronavirus, we were doing a lot of face-to-face classes, and I travel all over the world to teach him. Just the decorating part, not the baking, more just decorating. And I would say, did we do many on Facebook? We didn't really do many on Facebook, did we? We got a lot of requests from people saying, will you do the Facebook Lives? Everyone else is doing the Facebook Lives. And I'm not very up to date with like technology at all. I'm rubbish with technology. So I kind of avoided it for a while, doing them through like Facebook. And then when coronavirus happened, I think we've maybe done one, because we had a guest teacher come, and she wanted to do one because she used to do the Facebook Lives all the time. So she persuaded us to just do one, and we've just done that one, and it was it.
I just want to point out here that what's going on here from a technical perspective, there are different screens that are available using this particular software switcher. So they have themselves going live. They have the host who's asking them questions. and they also have the ability to demonstrate something. In this case, it's making some sort of decoration for a cake. So all of this is being done with an iPhone as software. So I just wanted to just call your attention to kind of what's going on technically here that might be a little different.
And then when coronavirus happened, we were like, well, maybe we should give it a go, because we had to cancel all our face-to-face classes. It was like a year's worth of work, really, wasn't it? That got cancelled for us. And I thought, well, we'll take things online. We'll do these Facebook Lives as like free videos for people. And we started with 2 a week, didn't we, initially? And,
yeah, 2 we're doing every Tuesday and Thursday mornings. When COVID for like lockdown 1 happened, or COVID 1, so back in February, March last year, I think, was when we first started the Facebook Lives.
But we couldn't believe how popular they were. So, but they've gradually kind of, we take it to 1 a week, and I've just, as from like this month, we said we're taking it down to 2 a month, just because we've got a huge amount of work on. And I was doing them mornings, so that I was at the shop anyway doing them. But I think now that more people are back at work, they're not viewing as much in the mornings, more in the evenings, and I don't have as many evenings free to do as many of the lives. Yeah.
So there's like I say, because it's just changing the times, and obviously your audiences. Obviously, the last year people have been at home a lot, whereas obviously people are back in work now. So it's just finding a perfect time to catch people as well, really.
Yeah, you're kind of jumping ahead. I was going to ask you about that, and that's a great segue to that point. Just talking about finding the right time to go live. So you guys were doing it at 10:30 just because people were home. So can you maybe talk about? Did you look at certain statistics? Was it viewers live, views overall, or anything? Or are you just kind of making guesses and seeing how it goes? Or
at first, it was what we found easiest for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was because it was the free videos. It's different, like if we do, because we do Facebook Lives in private groups as well, and I do them as paid for classes, so they're far more detailed than like the ones that we just do on our main Facebook page, or the ones in the private group. So those ones we do think about the time a lot more, and we make sure that, you know, it's a time where people are back from work, or certainly the UK. I know it doesn't work for everyone's time zone in other countries, but within the UK it's sort of after tea time or about your evening. Oh, you call it dinner time, I forget.
Yeah, dinner time.
I think it's just because we're northerners in the UK that we call it tea time. But yeah, dinner time. Yeah, so those ones were more kind of thought about time-wise, but then the Facebook Lives during the day, I didn't want to go too early because I wanted to have time to come into work and set up a bit. But they're not very planned, are they really? I usually, most of the time, make it up as I go along. Tomorrow's is different. I did a practice one, so that I had a picture to show everyone, but usually I decide about half an hour before we go online what I'm doing. And yeah, 10:30 just kind of gave me enough time to get into work, get set up, have a quick think about what I was going to do. But I did not really consider too much whether people would watch at that time. It was just convenient for me.
Just like, we're going to do it this time. I like it. Yeah. Is there, so when you're planning, you say you just kind of go in and do them. Is there anything that you kind of plan for to make sure people are able to follow what's going on when they're watching live? And is there any key differences between what you have to do on like a live video versus what you're doing in person?
So the live videos are good in that I don't have to set up a classroom. So I don't have to get out enough tools and equipment for every single person that's attending. Like they can just sort themselves out, and I don't have to clean up the mess from everyone after the class as well on a live, which is always nice. Because it's quite messy out there, the classes that we do. I would say, like, again, there's a little bit of a difference with when we do like a live stream in a private Facebook group where it's paid for one to when it's the free ones. The free ones, I don't give people a list of what we're going to use in advance, whereas the paid for ones in the private Facebook groups, I will have already made an example one. I would have weighed out all the materials and things that they're going to need and all the tools and equipment, so they will have got a full list of everything they need, and I'll go through it a little bit slower as well. Whereas the Facebook Lives that we were doing weekly, the free ones, I would kind of, I'd tell, so we've got a member of staff called Emily that she watches them and she put links in as I go along for people of what I'm using. So I usually give her a rough idea of what I think I'm going to use, which is probably really frustrating for her because I usually end up using different things to what I've told her. But yeah, as we go along, she will put in links, and especially if people will say, oh, where can I get hold of that thing that you're using, that tool? And she'll just put a link, which is linked to our shop because we sell most of the tools and equipment that I would usually use anyway. So she's very good with that.
Yeah.
And it means that like I don't have to watch the comments on the video. You do watch them, but you're not having to worry about kind of going to another website page to find the links and stuff. So she looks after all that for us. And I got completely sidetracked and I talking about something different, and I forgot what the question was.
Oh, you nailed it there. Yeah, I was just asking about the differences between baking in person and versus online, and you hit that, and that's just kind of your live streaming plan. And it's funny, you know, our worlds are both live streaming, or that's one part of it. And it's funny to hear you talk about, you know, you coming up with a list of ideas or things that you probably will be using. So, you know, someone watching along can help out and put those in and keep up with comments. And that's very similar to how I do. I'll set up and do webinars on how to use Switcher Studio and do other things and talk through, you know, maybe a specific part of the product. And I will tell people, or like, I'll usually have a couple of people in the comments as well. And I'll give them the articles I think I'm going to be referencing, so they know to put those in the comments. So it is interesting to hear how it can be a similar process. So yeah, as the title of these streams are, it's the Made with Switcher. So you all are obviously using Switcher. Can you talk a little bit about how you landed on using Switcher Studio for your live streams?
Well, did a bit of Google research. Because when we first decided we were going to do some live streams, as much as we've done videos, neither of us are like super technical into video production. So I did a bit of Google research, and obviously a couple came up. I had a trial with Switcher Studio. It's pretty much, I think it's the first one we even trialed, to be honest with you. It worked with all our devices. It was swift, efficient. It did what we needed to do. I could work it, which was a great bonus. I mean, it sounds daft, but you know, when you're doing something new, you don't want to be worrying about, oh, how do you do that? How do you do that? It was quite self-explanatory. I think even over the years, we've been using it a year now, Switcher Studio. Like in the time that's gone on, there's so many little tweaks that have come on here and there that have made it a bit better, a better experience as well. But the fundamental is it's a nice, easy to use interface that I think most people can do. You don't need a huge amount of equipment either. I mean, like when we first did.
I just want to again jump in here. If you see on the left screen, you see a laptop and you see it happens to be an iPad, and the iPad actually controls the live stream, and you can have up to 9 devices. They have to be iOS devices, so iPhones, iPads, and just by touching one of those rectangles, you can change the screen. You can change the camera angle. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and it's all just touch. It's not super technical. So depending on how you set yourself up, it enables you to do a variety of things without a heavy lift technically.
We had an iPad and an iPhone, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? And over the years, you get a bit better iPad, you get a few other bits and pieces, but you don't essentially need much equipment to work with it and look professional at the same time.
We've got quite a few mobile phones, haven't we, that we use for the videos, but that's because I'm a bit of a hoarder, and every time I get a new mobile, I keep the old one in a drawer, and which turned out really handy because you can use them now for loads of different camera angles.
Sure.
Well, that's it. And that was the other thing, because of what we do, cake decorating, you want a variety of angles that you could stream at the same time, because you want some top down, some sideways. Are we frozen? Are we all right? Some top down, some sideways, other angles as well, so you can kind of get them all in one screen, which worked really well, didn't it? Made us look fancy.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I'm gonna just reintroduce you guys in case people are just tuning in. We have Zoey and Richard here, Zoey's Fancy Cakes. They're doing live streaming and all that fun stuff, showing how to do cake decorations, and it's really, really awesome stuff. So yeah, you kind of mentioned a couple things there about your Switcher setup, and I saw Ryan had some B-roll up as well. You're showing your setup. We have that are you set up in the studio now? I know you have that second device. Is that to kind of show off the setup, or is that something we could see?
Shall I move one of the cameras?
Well,
to
this
show them?
one, I think this was on. So yeah, for this one,
Yeah.
you can see a little bit of how we would have a typical setup. So we kind of got microphone hooked up. Obviously, we use a MacBook anyway, just for me working and checking what.
This is usually my workspace. So usually Richard's laptop wouldn't be here. It would be kind of over there at the other side. So he would sit opposite me with all the sort of the iPads and the laptop. So I would just work in this little bit of space here.
Yeah. And then we use use the iPad as like the main system for like tweaking between screens and putting your little logos on and all those sorts of things. And then we generally got like a couple of Archon mounts.
Do you want me to move one of the cameras so I
Yeah,
can show
so
you?
you can kind of.
We work in an absolute mess. It's a bomb site here.
So we kind of got like.
That's everybody. That's everybody. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got like a couple of Archon mounts. So we can move the cameras up and down. Another little stands over here as well. You can see.
Have you got that one on?
No, it's not one. It's not switched on, that one.
Oh yeah, so this one's.
But yeah, we
There's a little one as well that usually pops up somewhere, depending on what I'm making. Depends on like where we put the different cameras, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it's like it's not this. It's not well, I don't know. It's like organized chaos for one of
yeah. Hey, it's whatever's going to work for you all. How about your lighting? Do you just use natural lighting, or do you have some lighting extra lights set up?
Our lighting's really bad. We do actually have extra lights. They're not on at the moment.
No, there's one over. It's like a big. You can probably see over there.
Okay, yeah.
It's not on. We keep thinking about buying one of those ring lights. Because do they make you just look nicer? Or are they more flattering the ring lights? I keep seeing people using them, and they always look nice in the videos.
That's what I've got. That's what I'm using. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but I have one.
Lovely today, yeah.
But also because where we are, when we used to do the videos at 10:30 on a Tuesday morning, we've got an online business, and like because our shop's quite small and it's kind of grown, we literally film in the middle like boxes and picking and packing orders everywhere, which is why we try and it's all crammed into one little space because we've just got stuff everywhere, haven't we?
Yeah.
But it makes it fun.
I would love to see everybody who's out there doing live streaming from like a home office or a small office. I would love for them to take a picture of what they look at, not what's behind them, because I'm like that too. There's cables everywhere. There's gear everywhere.
Well, that's it. It makes it. It's real, isn't it? That's how
it's real. Yeah. So, one last question, I guess, on your setup then. When you're live, is there any like specific switcher features that you use and kind of rely on or like a ton? I'm curious as to hear.
I mean, I quite like. Obviously, it's me that tends to look after the behind the scenes.
He likes the drum roll.
Okay, so the sound effects,
the sound effects, yeah, they're quite. That's quite a new thing that's coming, I think. The effects are nice. We use obviously the fade ins, fade outs, have a couple of screens on or 3 screens rolling at the same time.
You can't. Can you see it on there? I don't know for the things. You probably can't, can you?
We can kind of see it over there, yeah.
So like, for example, battery's dying. So like, obviously using all the transitions, we use a lot of transition features, those sorts of things. We use all the time, don't we?
Did you already say countdown?
Yeah, well, that's yep.
And the little pictures.
We have little pictures.
Obviously, I'm really technical. I know what nothing's called.
The picture, yeah, multi-views.
Yeah, when we use like when you drop in like you sort of like when you put your little icons on and bits and pieces like that, your logos.
Oh, lower thirds, yeah.
And the other thing that we use quite a lot is when we ask the audience questions. So obviously we use the polls and the voting on it, which is quite good as well. So you can set the polls up in the system, so then people can tally up and you can see it. Also, quite like we get a few cheeky viewers, and you quite like highlighting their comments on the screen as well.
So you do that.
Yeah. We see.
See, I don't see the screen. I see what I'm working on.
Saw the cheeky comment. Yeah, there you go, just like that.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah. So it's always quite good. So stuff like that, and it engages with your audience as well, because that's what people like to see. They like to watch, but they like to know that the comments they're being looked at as well.
Yeah, speaking of comments, everyone, I'll mention again, we're with Richard and Zoey of Zoey's Fancy Cakes. So if you have questions for them about how they're doing anything, you can put your questions in the comments and we'll be happy to get to them. I do like how you're talking about your setup. And that's one thing I always like to mention to people is you don't need a ton of gear to get started. Like you said, you just started off with just like the one iPad or an iPhone and can slowly grow into it and make it the full production that you want. So,
yeah. I mean, I would say from having done it a little bit now, the only thing I would say is you want to have a decent amount of memory on your devices you're using. So I think that is, if you're saving the footage, because we obviously back up our footage when we're shooting, so we can use it to edit later on for other purposes. But yeah, as long as you've got a decent sized memory, I think that's probably the one thing that I would say is useful to have.
Yeah, that's excellent. And very good advice. That's on my pre-live checklist, is making sure every device I have connected has enough storage on it, because the last thing you want to do is plan an hour-long stream and 15 minutes in, you're like, uh-oh, I'm out of space. What am I going to do? So, cool. I'm going to switch gears on you guys a little bit. So that's a whole bunch on the live streaming side of things. But you mentioned you also have this online business as well, where you're selling the products you're using. So I'm assuming the live streams are kind of also a demonstration on how to use these products and how they can be useful. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we try and, rather than doing the video specifically around a product, I'll have just decided to make something and it'll be whatever products I use for what I've decided to make. So I still choose what I want to make rather than specifically picking particular products, if that makes sense. We tend to find, like, if I'm doing one that's just for promoting like a single product and I'm testing a product, for example, there will be people that really want to watch it. They were interested in that product, but we don't get as many views if I try and sort of push it as a product thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like we don't like to do the hard sale. So it's like, do you know what I mean? We'll be using products. People will ask, like, say, Emily that works for us will link all the products that we are using, so they are there.
Yeah, people do always ask. People will say, "What's that you're using? Where can I get that from?" And then we can put the links in the comments, and it works best for us that way, rather than me kind of hard sale trying to push a product on someone.
But yeah, I mean, it does help with the online side of the business that we do have. So definitely we always see a big spike in sales after we've done the Facebook Live, which is it's always nice to have.
So other than just using the products, do you incorporate the live streams and the online business together any other ways, or?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you could look back, we just had a website up there. What we tend to do is we put we'll put videos that we've done using like recent Facebook Lives. We'll put them through to our website, and then there'll be, like, underneath it, there'll be bars of the products that we've used in the the video.
What's been used in that video.
So people can see videos that we've used and the products that we've used. They can buy them, like, as an easy place to find on the website, which does help.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. Do you have any tips, I guess, is another great question for all the people watching on our Facebook page here, or maybe watching afterwards on the YouTube channel. Do you have any tips for streamers looking to incorporate product features into their business?
Ooh. I think
I think you kind of mentioned one earlier that I like, which is maybe don't make the live stream be about the product, because people, I don't think, want to, like, if the product's good, it's going to sell itself, right? And you're just going to be able to use it and show how effective it is.
Yeah, I mean, I use a lot of the same thing each week. So often the regular watchers will have already purchased the things from us, and then they like that we're using it again because they're seeing as many different ways as possible that they can use a product. What would you say about that? I mean, I'm not a saleswoman at all. I'm really bad at selling stuff. I watch, like, other cake decorators that you can tell that their thing is selling products, and I watch their videos compared to mine, and it really is pushing the products. And mine aren't really.
Yeah, no, we're not.
I would say mine aren't.
We're a bit of a softy sales, but but I guess it's like you say, people can see the products you're using, you can see what you can make with those products. You kind of always think, well, if you buy those, you've got to, when you can use them to make something that we've just done. So you kind of get in a free how-to video, plus you can make it with these things.
I mean, usually at the end of the video, we kind of give people an update. So those that only wanted to really watch for the free tutorial, they will have probably gone at this point, and then the regulars that like to have an update on what we've got in, we usually sort of say to them, "Oh, we've got this new in stock this week," or "We've got this coming in," or I'll show them a new color range of sprinkles and stuff. So the hardcore followers like to watch that, and then they're also getting an update of what we have got new in the shop, but it wasn't predominantly in the main part of the video. It's all saved to the end. But what we started doing as well, actually, is, and I'd forgotten about this, we've been running competitions each week. So I have the paid for classes, and each week or each time we've been doing a new live stream, I've been asking them all to send in pictures of like their work. We pick like a theme. So this theme that's currently running is like a Star Wars one till the end of tonight, I think it is. So they have to share with us their pictures of their Star Wars themed cakes. And then I announce the winner in the next live stream. Sometimes the winner's watching, sometimes they're not. But I thought it was like a way to encourage people to watch each week, where they think, oh yeah, watch this week and we'll find out what you have to do this week to get a free class. Yeah,
very interesting, and that's very helpful. I saw one question. I think now would be a great time to answer some questions coming through the comments. And I will mention, because I know when we do a lot of these live streams, there's switcher specific questions come through as well. So we're going to focus here on questions for Zoe and Richard and their setups. And if you guys have the switcher specific questions, you can join us in the Facebook 101 group, which is a different group. And I'll be going live later this afternoon, and we can answer all those questions there for sure. But I know there was one coming through asking, with the reopenings happening, will you continue live streaming? And are you changing any of your plans with hopefully the pandemic coming to a close here?
So we are going to continue with the live streams, and we'll also continue with the paid for online classes. I would say the only thing that's changed is how often we're going to run them. So I know I mentioned earlier that we used to do 2 a week, then we put it down to 1 a week, and we've decided to do it 2 a month now, and we're doing 1 on the Tuesday morning at the beginning of each month, and then we altered the second one per month to be in the evening, so that it is more convenient for people that can't watch during the day. So we have taken it down to 2, mainly because there's not as many viewers during the day since people are starting to go back to work, but also it gives us time to get on with picking and packing like the products that people are buying to post out. But yeah, the online classes are going to continue. So even though when things go a bit more back to normal, I'll start running face-to-face classes again, I don't think I'll run as many face-to-face ones as what I used to do, because the online ones, they're really good for people in other countries that couldn't get to a class of mine.
Just to give you a bit, the online classes, we actually do use the Switcher Studio for. So we, like say, we still live stream all the online classes that people pay for using the Switcher Studio setup. So, you know what I mean? So it's used for that purpose as well. And we actually use Switcher Studio to record videos that we aren't actually live streaming either, don't we? So we'll record them into like dummy groups.
Yeah, so we've been doing that today. You could probably see the bits that I've been doing today, little cookies I've been making today. And
you're in that camera.
See, this is why I'm not left in charge of anything. I can't work out what camera angles what. So we were live streaming into a group, but a private group where we're the only members, so no one else can see it. But then we can download the footage afterwards, and I can cut it and do what I want with it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So we use it for quite a variety of purposes, apart from the actual, like say, live streaming itself as well.
That's very smart. I love hearing those things too, of people being creative and intuitive with the software and making it work for them as well. Ryan, I'm gonna start telling everybody out there where they can find more of this information, but if you have any other questions, you can either put them up on the screen or Slack them to me, and I'll make sure we can talk to those as well. Oh, here's another one from Haley. I think Haley's here just because I see she's giving Chewbacca a hug there, and I know we just said the made for Chewbacca cake. So do you plan out the structure of your tutorials for your live streams? There's more to it. How did you find a good flow that people could follow is the rest of that question.
I make it up as I go along. I wish I could say there was more organization. Now tomorrow's one that we're doing, because we're doing it in partnership with you guys tomorrow. So it's in partnership with Switcher Studio. Because it's in partnership, I felt like I should do a bit more organizing than what I normally do. So I did like a practice one. And then I haven't actually written down the tools and equipment for it, because I wasn't quite that organized. But I've done a practice one so that I could show people in advance what we're going to be making, whereas often I don't even get as far as that. As far as planning it out, sometimes I might think that there's a picture that I want to show people in the video, or I'll say to Richard, can you put this up on screen, this text to remind people about something? But
we have done. I mean,
I don't usually plan it out very much, do I? It's
when we have got like
make it up as we go along.
We've got like a Zoey's Fancy Cakers community group on Facebook. We do sometimes put polls in there occasionally, haven't we, where we've asked people to vote what they'd like to see next week. So we've given them like 5 or 6 choices, and then the one with the most votes we kind of use as the basis for next week. So we have done that a few times, and that gets people.
Okay. So there's not much more there, but a couple of points that I think are worth considering. So they actually have a number of channels that they've developed for their live streaming. So they have a free Facebook Live twice a month. Then they have actual paid streams in Facebook groups that they do. So they work with a Facebook group. The members of that group are organized. I'm not exactly sure how the transaction takes place. I haven't really delved into that. But they're very purposeful in creating, I guess, interest with their general streams, and then specifically, and they've got a lot of stuff to sell if you really think about it. So they've got these tools, I guess, or things to make these cakes. They've got classes where they charge for this instruction. She mentioned earlier in the video that she travels around the world, or did before the pandemic. So she gets paid for those, I assume. So it's a multimodal approach to live streaming. And I am giving serious thought to using Switcher for this class. And so I'm going to be working on it over the next few days to just get a sense of how hard it is. It's not a real expensive tool, and it just works with your existing setup. One of the things that I like about it is you have the ability to bring in guests really easily on a split screen kind of thing, which I like. You also have the ability to do labels. And so you notice that they had like who was speaking, what's their name, where they're from. So the ability to add those kind of graphics, like we're all used to seeing on TV, for example, I think is really good. And the other thing that they have the ability to do is you can actually include previously recorded video. So if you want to, for example, do a little video on some aspect of your business, whether it's shipping or some other aspect, maybe it's just 5 minutes or long, you can film that in advance, and then you can bring it into the live stream using that iPad console. You can just click on it and it will appear on your live stream. So I think that's pretty cool also. And that can also, if you are working with other brands, you can bring in teasers from the other brands, stuff that they're doing, video. So it's got a lot of neat tools. So I'm going to spend some time trying to get up to speed with that a little bit. Because I really like some of that functionality and some of that features. And frankly, I've not seen most of the multi-camera stuff where you have multiple views is incredibly technical and expensive and way beyond my interest level and skill level to figure out. This seems to be kind of more my speed, where it's really just click on something on an iPad screen. And so we'll see. I am going to try that, but I do like the idea of having split screen guests, using existing content or video from other sources, and a bunch of other features. So I am going to try to figure that out. So any questions, reactions to this whole approach here? Jack, what do you think?
Sounds great. I'm looking at how I might be able to use it when talking to my farmers, but also in recommending it to them. So I'm looking at, and like you, I'm kind of, my interest in skill set is simple. Yeah. And so, for most of the farms that I'm working with, I think as far as getting them to adopt this, take this training and adopt it, that's the approach that's going to work best with them. And
Yeah.
I don't think the audience is really going to be looking for, this high, super glossy production with multiple camera angles and everything. The low tech is authentic and it does the job.
Yeah. I think that many of the folks in this class, you have a product that you sell, and in many cases you make it one way or the other, whether it's cooking or packaging, a whole bunch of things in your operation, stories about maybe a particular individual in your operation, so forth. This gives you that flexibility. You can record it in advance or record it separately and then just show it when you're live, instead of having to scramble around like Jack is talking about, all these angles and stuff. But to me, in looking at this Zoey's cakes and previously the Daisy cakes, I think it just really points out that the upside potential of what you're doing, it might be a lot higher and bigger than you may have thought. I mean, here's a woman baking cakes in rural South Carolina. I don't know if you remember in that video, but she had about 10 ovens all lined up in a row, and it looked like her back room or something. I can't imagine the electric bill at that place, but it looked to me like she was just basically baking layers of cakes like crazy, and then putting them together into various shapes. But again, 7 million is real money a year. And that was actually a couple years ago. She may be doing more now. I don't know. I did notice that she has shifted all of her shipping to Goldbelly. I don't know if you all are familiar with Goldbelly. Goldbelly.com is a very interesting site where their primary business is taking restaurants from around the country that might have like a real, let me just find it real quick. Let's see here. I'll just show it to you. Goldbelly. So they work with restaurants around the country. Let me just get this up real quick. I think some of you are familiar with these guys. So what they do is they basically try to find unique products from around the country. A lot of them are intended to be, maybe things you grew up with or from your home area that you haven't been back to in a long time. And they got a lot of different ways: meal kits, pizzas, sandwiches, and here's a bunch of cakes that they sell, and they ship all this stuff. So this woman now, Daisy Cakes, has moved all of her shipping to this company. So there must be some economic advantage. I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can find her on here. But like, for example, a couple of the barbecue places like Sam Jones Barbecue, they're on here. Yeah, so here's Daisy Cakes. Here's all her cakes, and they ship directly. So maybe it's just logistics. Let me just see here. Barbecue, or actually what I'll do is I'll put in North Carolina. So they have a number of companies in North Carolina that use this platform. King's Barbecue in Kinston. Here's a place in Surf City. Sunrise Biscuit Kitchen in Chapel Hill, et cetera. It's a Skylight Inn, which is known for its barbecue. Some other cake makers in Asheville and so forth. So, it's an interesting site, and some of you may find that it would be good for your business to work with them. They're very hard to get in touch with. They're deluged with requests, and it's quite difficult to I think something like 3 out of 100 get allowed to come on the platform. It's really, really tough. One quick story about them that I thought was interesting is during the pandemic, many of their restaurants, particularly in the big cities, Chicago, New York, they had closed their restaurant dine-in space. And what they did is they converted that space to their Goldbelly shipping. So it became, their entire space was taken over by e-commerce shipping. And a number of them actually increased sales by more than double pre-pandemic levels. The shipping opportunity not only kept them afloat, but they actually made money and grew. So to me, it's just further evidence of the opportunity to do e-commerce on a national level. And I personally don't feel, I mean, I think it's fine to use Goldbelly, but I promise you they're taking a significant percentage. And I think it's fine to have it as one outlet, but the more you can do this stuff yourself, or to some extent, the more money you're going to make, so, it's kind of a chicken and egg type of thing. You might want to start with these guys, and there may be other players like this. I don't know, but the goal really is people want your product, and you want to try to make as much of that margin as possible, realizing that shipping and all that stuff is a pain, and it's complicated and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But it is doable, and there are people doing it on a very big scale from very small rural places. So I want to give you all the aspiration to be the featured video in our next class, where I say these guys went from $1.98 to 10 million in sales from rural Eastern North Carolina. So anyway, a guy can dream, right? That's our hope for everyone here. Any other questions or thoughts or reactions to kind of stuff we've seen? Hey, Ruth.
This is Ruth. I thought this was a great one, and I definitely want to watch again. They both had stuff that were good lessons for me. And one thing I wanted to comment on, you talked about that, and maybe it was Jack, about how that these videos are not polished and that people like that. And going back to my corporate days, what we found is that when we tested videos that were professionally done, that we spent more money than any of us, I think, would ever think on spending, they did not perform nearly as well as the ones that looked more handcrafted. And I think for those of us here, I mean, that's our option. We have to do it, but I don't think we ought to feel badly about it, is my point. I think it works.
I can't tell you how many things I have seen that reinforce that. And in fact, there's actually a kind of a movement, if you will, in e-commerce that called the anti-Amazon movement is one of its labels, but they've identified millions and millions of people who want nothing whatsoever to do with Amazon in any way, shape, or form. And one of the things that they talk about is, if you look at Amazon just from a high level or strategic level, what they are is they are an efficient delivery system. Okay, they are not a shopping experience. They are not particularly brand helpful or boosting your brand. It's really about getting some sort of relatively simple product to you very fast and very cheap. That's what they built their business on. So it's an efficiency model versus an experience model. And all of you have the opportunity, in my opinion, to really pursue this non-Amazon world by emphasizing experience, by emphasizing, in the words I keep running into in this whole space, authenticity, traceability, transparency. People really want to know who they're dealing with, and realistically, all of you have that opportunity. Amazon really doesn't stand a chance against any of you, in my opinion, once you figure out how to tell your story. And often, and I would argue, video is the fastest way to build that kind of emotional connection with people. Clicking around on a website just doesn't do that. It just doesn't. And I think ideas for content, we don't talk a lot about this, but you saw that couple, Zoey's Cakes. They're doing a lot of different things, but they're bringing you along for the journey and the discussion. So they talked about how they sell all the products that they use in their business, but they don't actually push the products. They just show the products being used. That's what I mean about the experience of it. And I think many of you in your processes, whether it's as you make your product or work with someone to make it for you, there's tons of opportunity to tell your story. Why are you doing that? What made you decide to do it that way? And what way did you do it before and it didn't work and you thought it sucked and now? So all of that kind of transparency and connection is actually a gigantic market. And I think I posted the other day on our Facebook, Shopify as a platform actually exceeded Amazon sales last quarter pretty significantly by a large percentage, and it's growing every quarter, where people are seeking out experiences, they're seeking out authenticity. They're not just price oriented. They may be in certain things that they buy, certain commodity type things, but very few people in this class are in the commodity business that I can tell. You all have such a love and caring for what you're doing and why you're doing it and your background story. There's just so much to talk about, and I just want to help you figure out how to get platformed, how to get yourself set up to do this, which is why I spent so much time on this Zoey's video, because it's one of the best I've seen that actually shows you what do these people do, how do they actually do it, because it's just hard to figure this stuff out unless you're a pro, and I am not a pro on this kind of stuff, but even I can click on a box and I can set up an iPhone and an iPad. That's not that difficult in this particular case. So anyway, that's kind of my soapbox today. Mantra soap, right? The soapbox is to really be yourselves and figure out how to tell your story with some degree of scale and some degree of impact. And the other thing is, I think that many of you may well have seasonal highs and lows, and it's those low times where you might have the time to look into some of this stuff and work on building your capacity and building your platform. So the mantra soap, you got something there?
No, I was just laughing when you said soapbox. I immediately thought, I use that. I always say that in my emails.
Yeah. So the name of your platform could be the Mantra Soapbox, right?
Right.
Tune into the Mantra Soapbox and get what's going on. So yeah, that's great. All right. Well, that's the show for today. I will post these videos somehow, somewhere, I guess on Facebook, or if anybody wants them, just email me and I'll make sure you get them. But the Zoey's one is the best I've run across that is really a discussion of platform and how do you do it? Because, a lot of people tend to think, this is like falling off a bike, right? It's just so easy. And you say, oh my God, what a course. You just, do this and do that. I personally find it all very challenging, and I don't naturally know how to do this stuff. It's just not, I don't have a background in it. I don't think many of you do either. So anyway, this will be a good resource to have this. And as I run across this kind of thing, I'll try to post it more, but yeah, so that's it. Thanks everybody. And we'll catch up on Tuesday. All right.
Hey, before we go, if anybody needs any help, that's what I went to college for. Audio, media, and streaming and digital content. So if anyone needs any help,
fantastic.
I'll be glad to help you.
Yeah. Put your post your contact thing in the chat around the Facebook group, Branson. I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right. One other thing before we go, I just want to tell everyone about, and I don't know if you run into this, but when you do live streaming or when you start to go live, one of the real pains in the neck that comes along is if you use any kind of music in your background, even if you just have like your stereo playing in your office while you're filming, that music can cause your video to be banned on YouTube, Facebook. They're called copyright violations. You actually get notices. Like last year I did one of these classes, and I just didn't even realize I had like Marshall Tucker or someone playing in the background, and I got a copyright violation notice from YouTube. I couldn't understand what they were talking about, and I realized, oh, it's my speakers in the other room playing Marshall Tucker that got picked up. It wasn't intentional at all. So that's just something to be aware of. And there is a station, if you will. It's on YouTube and it's called Miracle Music. And all of the music is whatever pre-approved, or it doesn't make any violation. You can use it anywhere, anytime. So it's Miracle Music. It's mostly kind of background jazzy, new age type stuff. It's not real heavy duty or anything, more suitable for background. But you can use sites like that as your background in your video. Like for example, if you're waiting to go live and people are gathering, you can play that music, just to kind of entertain them or whatever. But I did want to point that out, that's something you'll run into, is using someone's copyrighted music. YouTube's the worst. It's just crazy, the stuff they come after you with some sort of vengeance, and they'll even tell you that they'll block you from YouTube for 90 days. If you don't stop doing it. So it's kind of crazy, but some of you may have run into that. I don't know. All right. See you all later. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.